Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. Today we are doing a book review on the Watchwood Inheritance, apologies, by Ann Huchingson. This came out I believe 16th October, so just a couple weeks ago. I finished it about a week ago, maybe a week and a half ago. So this is a little overdue, but I want to make sure I touch up a little bit. I did what I normally do. I write notes for every chapter after I'm done reading it. I'll read those off in a little bit. We'll get through the first review, which is spoiler free, and then we'll dive into the actual spoiler stuff where I go over the chapters. Anne wrote a very good horror story for middle school grade. It was actually very nice to read a book targeted at younger audiences because I've been reading more on the heavier side, I guess you could say. So this was a very good break from that. It was very easy to follow, and I think my own middle schooler might enjoy it as well. Very, very good. I enjoyed it. I loved the little twists and turns. Some of it I did see coming in a way, but that could have been just my own author writer mind, kind of thinking about how would I write this, and me guessing correctly, and sometimes not correctly. But she made the scary parts feel like scary parts, like I was actually watching a ghost movie, which was very well done. And there are also other parts that I enjoyed that weren't normal in ghost stories, which I'll go over in the spoilers. I don't want to spoil enough. I will give it like a 4.5 out of 5 stars, because I mean, because I feel like you can always do better. There's no 5 star, I think. No 5 star book, except for my own, of course. I'm kidding. But, because you can always grow. You can always get better. You can never be perfect. So 4.5 out of 5. Very good. I enjoyed it. I think my kid will enjoy it if he would like reading, which he doesn't. So, sorry for that loss. But, please go check it out. It's free on Kindle Unlimited right now. So go check it out. Go read through it. It's a fairly short read, which is very nice. It was only like 4 or 5 hours long, is what it was telling me, which is very good. Knock it out in a week, an hour a week, an hour a day. Very good, very entertaining. Please check it out. Now, we are moving on to the spoiler section, so please don't continue to watch if you don't want to. So I'm just going to kind of read through everything that I wrote. I may not remember why I wrote it, but I'll do my best to explain. So going on to chapter 1, I wrote, very good intro. It shows the main character Peter as someone who wants to be liked and immediately goes into his life being ripped from underneath him with, this is explaining due to realizing his dad isn't who he thought he was. Chapter 2, having a 6th grader, it was hard for me to see a 7th grader asking serious questions. But as the chapter progressed and Peter showed signs and mannerisms and words that he is a 7th grader, my stand for my phone just kind of flipped over, stopped working. Hold on. What does it say? Still like what did I say? But as the chapter progressed and Peter showed signs and mannerisms and words that he is I wrote this really weird. He is a 7th grader. Still, I can remember when my son would ask me adult questions. I guess it's just hard to see our little one's growing so big. So what I mean by that, as I try and figure this out, there we go, is don't move. Is like my son doesn't ask very serious questions. He's more goofy on that side. So it was very hard to me picture him being a year older and asking super questions, but he does come out of his shell sometimes and asks those big questions. And like I said, I think it's just hard to see our little people asking bigger questions that they would ask when an adult would ask us, because they're just so young, they never grow up. Anyways, chapter 3. That was a nice, short, and sweet chapter that made us connect with Peter and his social life and how it has changed because of his dad's past. I think this was the part where he was hanging out with his friend and 2 girls showed up and kind of treated him differently after finding out he was kind of a big deal, I guess you would say. So that was interesting. Chapter 4, a nice little view of the town the mansion sits next to. I can't tell if the dad is happy or upset to be back, though. And I'm sure the girl will return. This is talking about Hadley, I believe. I'll see in my notes here in a second. When she ran into the car, and part of me thought she was a ghost, but obviously the dad saw. But, well, she obviously turns out real. But that's all I had to say about that chapter. Nothing really to go on that. Chapter 5. Interesting how Peter was cold, but his mom was hot. Feels like the dad is hiding something. Not surprising since he it auto-corrected something weird. Since he's been hiding for 20 plus years. Anne writes very well for her audience. It is a very easy to follow, which I like. Like I said before, she reads for her audience, which is middle school grade. And it was very easy to follow, which I enjoyed reading some heavy stuff early on this past month, October. Yeah, earlier in October. But yeah, it's showing signs that either Peter is haunted, because I guess he was feeling it and his mom wasn't. Chapter 6. I knew that girl from the street would return, Hadley. This chapter reminded me what it was like to go camping and meeting new kids. Ones you think you would never see again. So I would go camping, during the summer you'd meet kids and then leave and then you would never see them again. This is how that chapter felt, which I don't know if she was aiming for, but very well done. Chapter 7. I feel like the McNair, hopefully that didn't autocorrect for anything, McNair Sapphire is going to come up again. I wonder if 12:06 on the clock means anything. I don't remember why I wrote that, but feels like I'm watching a horror movie. The transition from him lying in bed to exploring the music felt rushed though. Okay, so he's laying in bed, he heard music and he wanted to go explore it. Which I believe he opened the door and walked in, did he? I don't remember that, but it just seemed like just instantly he heard the music and he got up. He wasn't questioning it, he wasn't anything. Like that first night, he's like, oh, music, I'm gonna go check it out. It felt kind of rushed. But moving on, chapter 8, short chapter, and that's all right. It's feeding off the fact that their family members have abilities, and Peter might be one of them with his visions he had from the medallion. Medallion? Is that what it was? Or did he have visions? I don't remember why I wrote this. Oh gosh, it's in my brain, but I can't remember why I wrote that. Because I know when he held it, it felt like vibrating and stuff. Was this from the tree? Or was this something completely else? Why would he climb a tree? Anyways. Now I'm questioning my even whatever. Like I said, I wrote this like a week or so ago. Chapter 9? Yeah. The abandoned house is for sure coming back in the story. I'm interested to see if the dad takes a turn, and kind of like in The Shining. So I was thinking the dad might get possessed, like kind of in how The Shining worked, and he would come after the kid. I was throwing things left and right as I was reading. I was like, what's going to happen? But it didn't, as we all know. Chapter 10. It seems these ghosts are coming to Peter when he needs it. The one in the forest helped him up when he fell, and Violet helped him when he was bored. So I say that he fell out of the tree, and then the one in the woods, I forgot his name already, Willis helped him up because, he obviously fell, but he was fine. Which she never really explained that in the book, how he fell from a high distance, but did he slow down because Willis help him? Anyways, and then Violet showed up when he was pretty bored in was it the library? I think so. Next chapter. Chapter 11. I don't know if I should be suspicious of Hadley. She seems too eager to have Peter stay and confront these ghosts. Yeah, I was very suspicious. She was like, oh, let's stay. Let's figure this out. She was really into it. So I grew suspicious of her. Suspicious. The light behind me is really bright. Anyways. Chapter 12. I'm enjoying how the author is having ghosts appear to Peter while others are around. That is something I don't see very often in any form of media, at least not that I can remember. So this is, after writing this, I did think of some movies where the ghost appeared behind someone else they were talking to, where it's supposed to be a jump scare, but I don't think this was meant to be a jump scare per se. I think this was the chapter where they were in the candy store and the old man was trying to search a candy for his wife. I think this is the chapter I was thinking of. Moving on. Chapter 13. I figured Lincoln was a psychic of some kind. The ghosts being tied to objects reminded me of Supernatural's same theory. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Where, like, a ghost is tied to a specific object, and that's why they won't pass. Something Supernatural had in their story. Or stories? World, universe. There we go. Chapter 14. I like how the chapters are short, knowing young teens they don't want to read for too long. I also like the thought of nice ghosts, like the elderly man. Yeah, there we go. I think that I'm just mostly commenting on how short this chapter was. Like my son, he doesn't like to read, but if it's a short chapter, I think he'll actually put through and read it. So, very nice. Chapter 15, good chapter that mostly revolved around the dad and grandpa. It also confirms that Lincoln has paranormal abilities as well with aiding Willis. Yep, it was Willis, I remembered. So this is just some backstory between the dad and the grandpa arguing, butting heads, and then the grandpa telling Peter about past ancestors who had abilities. Chapter 16, talking about portals are opening. Talking about portals are openings through time. Oh, there we go. I'm wondering if Lincoln fell through a portal and is lost in time. If it wasn't for other people talking to Hadley, I'd almost expect her to be dead. But other people were talking to her. The author does a good job at making the story feel creepy like a ghost movie, but also not so much with how Peter reacts to the ghosts. So he doesn't necessarily jump up at him, like most jump scare movies would. He accepts that they're there. The only one is the captain he gets really sketched out about. Moving on to chapter 17. It's interesting to see the captain's ghost be so on point with Peter's thoughts, telling him not to say a word or he'll hurt Homer. So, like, whenever Peter was thinking about telling someone, Captain would appear. I think this was the part where he scared the horses. Yeah. I was also surprised on how far the captain could travel from the mansion to the Amber House. Is that what it's called? But yeah, I don't remember where he died. Did he die in the Amber House? Either way, it was quite a distance. It's like the ghost could. It breaks the rules of ghosts in my head, like they're tied to a location or a thing. Anyways, next chapter. I'll be right back. Oh no, Cheryl got him. I was gonna go with the dog, but the wife got her. Hi, puppy. All right, chapter 17. It's interesting to see. Nope, I already read that one. Chapter 18. I'm curious to know why we haven't seen multiple ghosts at once. It's always one or none. Willis' dad is Captain Grant. Then, who is this captain following Peter around? That's true. At this point, we have not seen multiple ghosts at the same time. It's always been separate ghosts. I think that's how it is through the entire book too, if I recall. And then Willis' dad is Captain Grant. Yeah. So we're learning about the story and the plot at this point. Chapter 19. It was nice to see a ghost giving him somewhat good advice, even though it wasn't too helpful. I think this was Willis's fiance in the graveyard. It gave him advice, but I don't think it was very helpful. Like I said, I don't recall what she said, but to me it didn't seem very helpful at the time. Maybe it was. Moving on, chapter 20. Okay, I have a hunch Willis might be the bad guy, but the picture shows Willis's uncle with Willis's younger brother and the lady from the grave. Okay. Sounds like a fan picture. Okay. Also, I find it interesting that Willis, being the oldest son, died. Then the younger brother had a kid. Sounds like Peter's dad, who had an older brother that died, and Peter's dad had a kid. Like there's a correlation there. Does that make sense? Like Willis is Lincoln. They both vanished, and then the younger kid ended up having a kid, and so on and so forth. I saw like a mirror there. I was trying to put something together in my head when I was reading that chapter. And the picture I was thinking Willis was lying about uncle, like his uncle was his dad. until obviously you read further and figure out what's the real deal. Chapter 21. I figured there'd be something between Peter and Hadley, but for some reason, to me, it felt off. I'm wondering if the medallion was the reason the captain kept a close tab on Peter. So, was this when Peter and Hadley kissed? I'm not quite sure. But it felt off, like their romance part of the story was added in as a filler. But it's fine. And I think what I was saying with the medallion was like that's how the captain was tracking Peter, was through the medallion. Chapter 22. I heckin' knew Lincoln went through a portal and got stuck. I think the only reason Peter didn't was because he had Hadley. As in, like, he was in the portal, he was like deep in there, and then Hadley started calling him back, and he was like pulled backwards until he was out. When Lincoln didn't, that's not the reason he got stuck, but he didn't have someone to help him be pulled out. Chapter 23. The cracked mirror makes sense to why Lincoln can't come home, but it doesn't explain how the east wing door was open that same night. So he went through the portal at Amber House, and then the tree fell, cracked the window. He couldn't get out. Tracks. But that same night that he went through the portal, the door to the east wing was opened. That's what Grandpa Homer said. I don't think that's explained anywhere in the book. Not that I found, anyways. That was one thing that stuck with me through the book. Like, how did that open? Anyways, moving on. Chapter 24. Not sure what we learned from this adventure to Amber Hall. I feel like it was a setup to make conflict between Peter and his dad as we come close to the climax. Okay, so this is when Peter went back to Amber Hall, and he pretty much fell through the floor, was stuck, got helped back up, and then ran away. But because he went there, his dad got mad at him. So I feel like there's nothing to gain from that, because I don't know why Peter went there. He just went there. I think to confirm the cracked mirror. But regardless, I think it was to add into the story to make some tension for the climax. Okay. Chapter 25. Well, he just had to go and piss off the ghost. I think I may have missed something. How did Grant die again? He was the rumored one to steal from the army, right? I think so. So, Grant, Willis's actual dad. It's told that he was the one who stole from the army and stuff. That's why he's got a bad name, and that's why Willis wants him to be cleared. I think I may have missed this reading earlier on, but did the captain No, the captain was stealing it, but Grant caught him. So the captain killed Grant. But the story was told Grant was caught by him? Shoot, I don't remember. I'm confusing myself now. But I think I kind of got it. I just don't know how to explain it. Chapter 26. Getting to the good stuff. Peter's finally deciding to take the fight to the ghost. So, yeah, him and Hadley are going to go through the mirror. Well, at least he is. Chapter 27. I liked how the mood ring played a part in the overall story. It wasn't just a tidbit about Hadley. So, yeah, the mood ring was the gem. There he goes. The McNair gem, is that right? So that was a very nice tidbit where it was all connected in the end. Chapter 28. I had forgotten about the empty drawer until Willis opened it and it was empty again. Then it clicked. A secret compartment. That was smart writing. I say it was a smart writing because it was empty at first, the first time he was able to unlock it. But then, the way the author wrote the rest of the story, you kind of completely forgot about it. You forgot about that drawer and forgot why it was empty until this part. And then you're like, oh, I forgot about that. I think that was good writing. Chapter 29, very short chapter, and I feel like the realization of being stuck here should have felt more powerful from Lincoln. I just didn't feel like I got enough emotion from Lincoln on him being stuck there for so long. I wonder if that makes sense. But chapter 30, I've heard sometimes ghosts repeat the things they did while alive. It shows us with the scene of Willis helping Turlock the same as when he helped Peter. So I thought this was good on storytelling, especially with ghosts, because you hear ghosts just repeat what they did in a past life. And in the past world, Willis helps Turlock, who fell in a hole. He helps him lift him up. And in the present time, Ghost Willis does the same thing for Peter, who fell in a hole at Amber Hall, and then helped him up. So I guess that's actually that was a good part for the reason for being in Amber Hall, to add this little section, kind of mirroring, reflecting, 2 different times. Chapter 31, another short chapter, and I have no comments for it. I don't even remember what that chapter was about. All right, chapter 32. The author did a very good job at making this climactic scene very riveting. It was no conjuring climax. It was no conjuring climax scene like the movie Conjuring, but it was still very well written and very satisfying. They were trying to close the portal, and it was very satisfying to see the captain there trying to keep it open. But then they were able to shut it down. Very good, very good. Chapter 33, very good ending. One thing I'm still confused about is when Lincoln got stuck in the mirror at Amber Hall. Homer said the door to the East Wing was open. How did that happen? That's, like I said previously, that's the only thing I'm confused about. So hopefully it can be answered. Or if somebody caught it reading that I didn't, let me know in the comments. But that is my review of The Watchwood Inheritance by Ann Huchingson. I want to make sure I said that right first. Huchingson, one of them. Please go check out her stuff. Her socials will be in links. Her links to her socials will be in the details below. Again, a very good book. I think the younger audience will really enjoy it if they're into that horror stuff, or if they're exploring the horror stuff now, because they're getting in that age where they're curious. But as always, please like and subscribe, and we will catch you next time. Deuces.